Well, Lewis,
I'm doing a yo. I was in the
how
chat.
are you?
Hey.
How are you doing today, my friend? We're back at it, my friend. Back at it. Let's get
Good,
over here and get us both in the picture. Of course, right when we got it going, Lewis crapped out.
All right, with last comments.
Lewis, that virus has
is it
you
you
all
or me?
screwed up. Hey, why don't you drop out and I'll keep going and call me back if reset your computer. Wait. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
if I have to reset my computer, it's gonna take like an hour. So it's me, is it? Good.
All right.
Yeah, because I need to I got this virus. I got to do a full offline scan to make it work.
Well, don't worry.
But,
you're coming good now. You're coming in good now. Maybe it was just because it was trying to connect the bandwidth or something.
Okay, yeah, I'll stop. I'm just gonna let the virus live for now. You all can't get a virus. You're on Discord. You're on YouTube. It doesn't work like that. But I'll just let it be. It says Queen Stealer virus, and little does it know I'm poor as hell and I don't have any Bitcoins. So screw you, virus.
Oh, brother.
So I'll let it.
Coin
I don't even know how
stealer.
it got on the computer. All right? We only have one. This is the only Windows PC in the house. So this is the only. I'm like the only kitty that it can prey on. I guess is Windows PC.
Yeah, it's probably you got to stop messing around with trying to download those illegal Switch ROMs. I guess Nintendo's got all that stuff locked down right there. So
I got some super dodgy stuff going on.
That's right. How's everybody in the chat doing? First off, it's been a little bit. We went through the convention. At least I did last week. I got some updates on that in the show. I got a special shout out / sponsor for today's episode, if you can believe that.
What's going on there? Tell us about that.
That's right. We got to get a good old sponsorship today for our friends over at I know him, Ariel Aces at Artistic Pixels has officially added a new collection. If I can get my screens right here, I will promise to get all this over here and we will show off the new collection here right at Artistic Pixels 305 collections, and boom, we have the Retro Tech collection available now. That's right, you can get all your favorite Retro Tech people in this collection, but now I'm part of it. We've got a new awesome t-shirt, which is pretty darn awesome. You can see I've got my updated logo, which I thought was pretty sweet.
Okay, you've done some subtle work to that.
Subtle work to that. Actually, I didn't, but I let Ariel have some artistic freedom with his team to do that. And then if you notice on the shoulder of this lovely t-shirt, you get to still have the cool PVM. I'm sorry, it just keeps wanting to scroll up and down there. But you see up there on the shoulder, you get the lovely PVM sketch drawing on the left-hand shoulder. And you don't have any obnoxious big plug for Retro Tech on the front, just the cool logo, so you can really be low-key Retro Tech CRT fan with this.
That is nice.
Let's get out of this and see how much this lovely t-shirt costs you. I believe it's just $29.99, and it is super high quality. I've also got some new stickers with the new logo here, which thankfully I have some on hand here. So we'll pop a link to this in the chat for anybody who happens to be interested and has been waiting with bated breath for some Retro Tech merch. There's some new stuff available right there. And here is a closer look. I mean, these stickers are just so awesome.
Oh, they look great.
My daughter had show and tell this week at school, and she saw these, and she was like, "Dad, can I take one of these over there and use it, show and tell?" It's got the nice shiny reflective large sticker, super high quality, nice textured. So
to fill us in on Ariel is a guy that I like. I like what he does, but I've never had a conversation with him to learn about him, to understand his background and where he's coming from. So he's experienced in, because he's making the stickers. I see him making the tattoo stickers, t-shirts. What's his background? What's his experience?
So he has his own shop in Florida that he does all this, and he has just over the years. I mean, I first saw him, Bob first introduced me to him. Bob had been making some really cool T-shirts for a long time with him for Retro RGB. And, the bad thing is that YouTube will try to get you to use some kind of Teespring or sponsored program, and that stuff is generally super low quality, like really bad prints. And so the thing for us was always trying to find somebody who actually did a good job and like makes it look good, makes it look like something you actually want to wear, and not something that's like you order a picture of it's like on the like this is another one. This is a special one he made for me for the show because it's got my tag right there, my social media stuff right there. So that's like what I was wearing was this, and then the same thing with the blue background for the show. But he's just got some really great stuff. It's been work in progress for a couple years, and this year was his first year to come to the Retro World Expo and work the booth with us because he does the merchandise now for me, Bob and Retro RGB, Tito and Macho Nacho Productions does all the merch for Macho Nacho, and My Life in Gaming. So all those guys, we were all in one giant booth. I've got pictures of all this stuff, so we're gonna get to have some fun today, get some updates. So it was awesome, and that's what I always hated was when I got on my own. I got the opportunity to actually sell merch. Gosh, it was a few years ago. I don't know how many subscribers you have to get to, but I ordered it, and I was like, man, this is just garbage. And then I felt bad telling people to order it almost.
It is. I had the same experience when we were creating merch for my stand-up comedy production company. Wanted to go to a local manufacturer. I want to see shirt samples. I want to see a sample of the printing, all that sort of stuff. It was also very important for us to make sure that what they were getting was a good shirt, good quality shirt, something we would wear as well. So awesome. So Ariel, so he had this business before all of this retro stuff, and he's a retro guy, and he then took these customers on, or what's the core of his business in Florida?
I'm kind of like the last man in, so I just basically don't know that much. I mean, I think Bob has probably had him on the show. I know he did a live stream with My Life in Gaming, which you could check out, I'm sure too, but he's really passionate, really cool dude, like in it for like the right reasons, like the rest of us, not here to I mean, you're not going to get like probably super rich from selling retro gear, but it's for us and for me, it's great to have somebody again, like you say, that's a small business working with us together on our team, kind of like working together in a way. I mean, he's going to do a bunch of signage and things for the shop, and so we'll. This is just the very first thing, the very first step for me, and others have been doing it, so.
It's cool, man. Hey, actually, I just realized I have similar sort of news as well. So you've got these stickers. Ariel's done a great job of putting those together. That shirts look great. Sitting in my inbox right now, waiting for me to unzip the file, is the new artwork for Zez Retro. It's finished.
Awesome.
We've got new headers, new logos, some, if I ever make a video again, we've got cards and shit like that for the video. So that was made by Mason Conrad, our homeboy. He's done your YouTube banner, done a lot of your thumbnails, a lot of my thumbnails. He's done a lot for Bob as well over the years. If you have seen sort of Bob's style, you see that Mason's done that. So I work with Mason. I know him a bit. We had him on the show a couple of years back, and he was able to follow my directions. Found it very easy to work with, and it's all ready to go. So it's got this sort of Japanese motif, Zez Retro, got the blue, the yellows. So I literally did not have time to load it up before we came to the stream here. So I'll be doing that, the unveiling, unboxing soon.
Yeah. Belmont says unless Coin Stealers stole it and leaked it already while we're live.
Oh God, it's taken it. It's already online. And now my Bluetooth mouse tells me that I've got 5%. I got one of these tank mouses. It's a recreation of the original Amiga 500 mouse. It was a Kickstarter from a few years ago. It's a cool device, and it's got a dongle and it's got Bluetooth. You've got to turn it off or it sucks down the batteries. I'm at fire. So who knows? Everything's going wrong today, but we will just keep on going. The world, Rome is on fire, but we will plow on through, Steve.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, everybody, thank you for showing up today on this amazing stream. As always, we love having you here with us. And if you are enjoying the show, please do us a favor and just hit the like button. And that will really help everybody know that we're live together. And just if you have anything you want to throw into the chat there, do so. We got Belmont adminning the chat, which is awesome. Good to see him back.
Hey, we got Eduard
just hopped in.
Let's talk about Eduard, because he's making these new analog cables and they look great. So he's making his own RGB SCART cables for a bunch of different consoles. And he reached out to me and we were talking, and he's like, hey, I'm making some cables. Can I make you one at cost price just to, get the word out there? And I said, hey, I need a Dreamcast 480i cable. I've only got a crappy AliExpress one. So he put one together for me. And if you're following Eduard on Twitter, he posts photos of his cables and they look so high quality. And that's what we're always saying about any modder, anyone like you, Steve. Like, you want to be open and transparent about the work you're doing. You always want to show photos, documentation. You're very good at that, Steve. Eduard's been showing photos of his work. And look, I haven't seen the cables yet, but I'm like, dang, the photos look good. Right. And what is exciting is Eduard is in Albania, which, while not the European Union, is in continental Europe. So it does make shipping a little bit easier for us over this side of the pond. We have only a few options in continental Europe. There is Retro Gaming Cables in the United Kingdom. That's probably the most well-known one. But they're in the UK. That's not even the EU anymore. There used to be the Foo from Poland, this mysterious eBay seller who I have a couple of his cables and they were great, but he's gone to ground. He's gone ghosted, and we really don't have a great continental Europe EU supplier of high quality analog cables. So great that he's in Albania. That's easy to get shipping down there. I'm looking forward to my Dreamcast cable coming. And if anyone else knows any others, please, if you're in Europe, where are my European buddies? If you're in the chat and you're in Europe, let us know. Shout out to my socialism homeboys over here.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, yeah, if people do good quality work there, definitely let us know. Eduard has been posting some awesome stuff. I still know here that the great place to try to get cables from when they have them in stock is Insurrection Industries, really. And so it's always good to have it. And I feel like there's always a need, and it feels like you're always looking, and it's still surprising that there's a need. But those generally are expensive things. I mean, we look at the price now of a set of HD Retrovision cables, and over time they are very expensive, but you're paying for what you get, and you have to charge that much to make a viable product in today's society, pretty much, even as a smaller business. So anytime somebody could jump in, help us, even as they're growing, even as Eduard is growing in this adventure on his own with the cables, if it's something that he ends up going into more, then that's even better for everybody for the most part. So good to see that. I love to see when you get those in, how they work out.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm on some sort of mission. I'm a completionist, not for Mega Drive games, not for Super Nintendo. I'm a completionist for analog cables for every console. Awesome. So I've almost got like one high quality of everything. In the post, I've got a Saturn S video. I've got another genuine Super Nintendo S video coming. I got a RGB SCART 360 cable coming. So I want to have the big three, composite S video and RGB SCART for all my consoles, not component, because I don't have any component gear. So I guess I'm not that
That's
much
all right.
completionist.
All right. Yeah. So thanks, Ronnie, for being here today, too. Wizzo, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Awesome stuff for Wizzo, too. And then Chris Brome and Demon Child. I think we got everybody in here today. It's
doing good.
Said hello. Good. But
so we want to hear about your adventures, Steve. Retro World Expo.
So let's see what we can put together here a bit. So I do have a file of things, and as I do that, I'm probably gonna just axe the jazz music. So we'll turn that off for the time being. It's okay though. So if you came
ask you a few questions.
Sorry.
Am I stuttering to you, Steve, or not?
No,
or is it
no,
generally
it's
okay?
much better.
All right, because
better.
I've got my task manager open here, and there is a battle happening between Windows Defender and this virus. I see my CPU going up, it's going up and down. All I care is that we get through the next hour and a half or whatever of this stream.
That's hilarious.
And then I'll just burn the computer. I'll just throw it out the window. But next hour and a half is important. So what are we going to say? You going to pull some pictures or what do you got?
Yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff. So first off, everybody knows I was taking a load of CRTs, right?
Oh, load of CRTs, right. Sorry.
A load of CRTs to Retro World. So let's see if we can't get a couple of photographs over here. Maybe we can pull them up over Zez's face, and I'll go full screen with that, like we did a second ago. So this was when I admit it took me so long to finally get to Retro World. I had the van completely loaded. Let's see if there's. I mean, I could probably show some footage. I just want to make sure that it's not going to have any volume.
Sure, there you go. That cart makes you look like the weirdest homeless guy ever.
So yeah, this was literally the van, right, that I had rented from the airport, and that's what I had it filled with all kinds of CRTs, as you can tell there, and. Beautiful. Well, I got stuck in extra traffic and didn't get to the convention in time for Monday evening. So this was me unloading things on the Marriott's luggage cart that I had to take. I got this fun photograph right here with a red Cybertruck in the background. You see that?
Oh yeah! Oh god, the red stuff.
So this is me running loads basically between that van all the way up to the convention floor. I'll play some of these clips just because they're going to be silly, but so this is me at the CRT booth, right, with everybody. You see him in the background. This will be part of the video, so I'm not really going to let it run, but I'll let you see the CRT like setup or the booth the first day. So this was that CRT was supposed to be modded by me, but Bob forgot the parts. So I'm going to skip past this little look at this thing. He forgot the kit, so I had to take the circuit board with me, and we'll have to live stream like doing that together or something. So we've got that. Lou was hanging out.
Oh, there's Lou, right?
Yeah, Lou's always there, so it's great to see him. Here's the lineup of CRTs. Like this was basically Saturday morning at about 10 a.m. before the convention opened, and kind of here as I had explained to you earlier, I had we talked to the show promoter guy Lance, and we were explaining to him that all of us are really close, right? That we're friends, we do this stuff, and we're like, so lining us all up in the same spot is better. Because then, we morphed it into a huge booth, right? Of pretty much most of the booth on this entire side was just our booth. Because we had 3 regular booths that we had all combined. So that was, that just made it, I think, more approachable. And man, it was just like a lot of, there we go. A lot easier for us to make it, approachable. Like I had most CRTs down here. You can see over here the Koa's M3 Mister.
Oh yeah, yep.
Simpson was here, available for sale. He did really well. They sold quite a few of those at the show.
And speaking of creators and makers who show their work, that QR code, if I understand, is a link to all the documentation you have on that set.
Yeah, so it's differentiating right on each set. So this first one, I did a live stream, about a year ago, where I worked on this, but all I have was a live stream, and then I had a file of pictures I had taken after it because I didn't apparently have the pictures of me while I was restoring it. This was something I didn't think I was going to sell, but I wound up, needing the space and eventually selling it like I always end up doing. But as for this This one would have had a full file showing everything done to it. This was the RGB modded one. Remember we showed?
Yeah, absolutely. Who can forget?
Oh,
We had the live
yeah.
stream with you,
Look
you
at-
and me and Bob.
So first off, this was the one you and I did together last week. And
Oh, yeah, that was
remember
last
how
week.
It was real shaky. I actually did go in and reflow solder on all the junction points, and it fixed it. It wasn't jumpy at all anymore. So PO17, if you watch this, you were right. Good job on there. So that one was next to it, and then yes, our lovely friend, the Sony LMD 1420, brother. What's up, Legendary K4 and Zen Arcade? Welcome in. Yeah, so the 1420 new capacitors, and that again just took it to like the crappy the video where I restored it because I did that full restoration on video.
That's right.
So there's that one.
That screen is such a good example that anything, like any early LCD, even the best early LCD, is still a pile of dog shit. And I don't want to speak down to the person who bought that. Look, it's a collector's item. You had a bit of fun. It's 480i. I don't want to speak down to you, not at all. But just the point that like it's hard to you know what I mean? Like maybe an early CRT still looks good, but I'm happy someone got that. They got a bit of fun. They got a bit of history. Well, and look, if I was there, I would, I'd keep it as a picture frame if I had it or something like that.
Well,
right
like a guy came and he was saying he just wanted something to test stuff out at a bench, and I said he's setting up a new workbench. I was like, oh well, this is perfect. You're not worried about lag.
Perfect.
It's going to test everything on analog, and it's thin, it's bigger, it's easier to see. So he actually wanted it. Surprising. So I was laughing.
Right on.
So he bought that. This was the very last one to sell, funny enough, on there, the JVC. But somebody eventually bought it too. I had shown that front panel that Kaitor had printed on there. So that's that one. That was $400. And this one was $210. It was the bargain PVM. This was the bargain. That's what I called it. The 1270Q. It's 40 years old. Raw, unrestored. It does do RGB. I adjusted it, and I did a video on it years ago, or a year and a half or 2 years ago, and I just linked to that video where it shows me adjusting it and such. So those, let's see, those were all. Yes, that was all of them. So I set that up. I set that one up at the other end where Tri and Audi were set up so that they would have, a CRT down there out of the way because what would happen is you have people come up and then they'd be like drawn to that and have a good talking point too. It's like a nice fun little talking point for everybody. And so that was just the booth, right? And after the booth, we got some other cool things here. Let's make sure that I've got
it's tremendous that people are buying these CRTs, that it's a place and like this coming together, that physical in person is so important, not only, for our community, for getting together, for exchanging information, having a good time, but for exchanging CRTs. These are big, heavy, hard things to ship, right? And that people could come and actually buy one. I think look, Steve, your idea that you're going to have a CRT store, I'm not sure that would work, but this roving CRT drop-off thing, I think you could be on some kind of winner with that.
Right, I know. That seemed to be going really well. So let's see what else was going on here. I want to show maybe a little bit of this footage. Yes, this was... I'll switch over the view here and set this clip up a little bit more. Let's move through some of this. So here.
Okay, was that trying?
We were working on the giant. I brought the giant 36-inch CRT down there. The one I had RGB modded, but I kept having trouble with it hooking it up with Mister. And so that was us trying to figure that out. I guess I didn't show anything cool in that clip, but so that was them trying to figure it out, and then I had to basically run off to my presentation, which, man, the presentation, dude, look at this. Like, I couldn't believe this was how many people came to my presentation. That was the
all
end of
that
it.
virginity. Oh my God. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. I'm sorry. I wish I was there. So many good-looking people.
Like, I hadn't had anywhere near that kind of a turnout ever for a presentation.
Awesome.
So that was super special just to have a huge crowd, but it wasn't, if you want to check out the presentation, it has been published. So you could definitely see that. Just go follow my Twitter and you'll find it. It's on a recent post.
Yeah, I think Dubes posted.
Yeah, he recorded
it
for us, and which was good because I had no time. It was pretty funny. I was like, so I looked at the schedule for the day, and there was this orchestra that was scheduled before me, but they were scheduled like 2 hours before I was. So surely they'll be done. So I took my stuff up early to the presentation room, and I got there and there wasn't really anybody there, so I set it in the very back corner, and I waited till like 20 minutes before my presentation, and I go up there and there's like 150 piece instrumental thing where all these guys are still packing up gear and things and talking, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm not gonna get in here and be able to set up, because I was like, dude, I was like freaking Carrot Top. I had so many stupid props. That was the joke, that I was Carrot Top of. I mean, I brought like 50 tools. Like, I was bringing the CRT toolbox, and I was like, I got so scrambled I couldn't get power hooked up to the CRTs. I couldn't get them opened up in time before the show was starting. There was already people there, and so
so walk us through, what did you do and how did you deal? I mean, it's a big room, there's a lot of people. How do you show the intricacies, or how did you tackle that challenge in the presentation?
Well, you just start off with some stuff you've run through in your head like 25 times, right? Just a little bit of an intro, talk about yourself very briefly, kind of the idea, the direction I wanted to go with the whole course. I was like, this is a workshop. I'm going to work through a lot of things here live with you, but I also want you to feel comfortable to come in and, if there's something we want to talk about a little bit more, let me know. We can stay on that. We can do a demonstration 3, 4, 5 times instead of just doing it once and then moving on to something. I want everybody here to feel like they are a part of what's happening, this presentation. And also, I'm running behind, so I'm sorry. And then I was starting with my, and then I started with my silly jokes, which was, we will be, of course, trying to do things safely here. And the last thing I would want is anybody to get hurt. But I am going to be working, with live electricity in front of you. So if something happens to me and I get zapped, pass out, fall over, the first person to come up here and help me gets a free t-shirt. And so, of course, then everybody starts laughing. And I said, but don't run up all here at once. So that kind of breaks the ice a little bit, keep going. And then I just start like grabbing the tools and just like talk about them a little bit. Then I start jumping into the monitor and doing like demonstrations and kind of flowing with the crowd. And then like the little things wouldn't work. I couldn't find my magnets, but somebody had magnets in the crowd, and so I was able to get magnetism shown up on the screen. And like, so it was like, help, thank you, and I had one joke that I had prepared that was actually so nerdy, and it was funny, but it was basically the only joke I had pre-prepped. And it was, of course, part of the Carrot Top routine, because I was going through the tools. So the first couple minutes, I'm like, this is the screwdriver I use. I like to use brushes. And then I'm like, but one of the most important things you need when you're working on a CRT is the service manual. So this is a service manual, and I held up a manual, and I was like, unfortunately, I couldn't actually find a service manual to any TVs, but this is a service manual to my hot tub. And so people were just like giggling, laughing like that because I had my hot tub. I was like, but it's physical, gets you the point across. So it was really
nice, man.
Cheesy, but landing well. And
okay, so it was about an hour. Your session was about an hour.
Yeah, I could go through stuff for about 40 minutes after that. And then I just stopped, and I was like, all right, let's do some questions.
Oh
And
yeah, cool. So how were the questions from the audience? Tell us that. What
oh
sort of
yeah,
things
they
were
were
asking
great,
about?
and I'm sure that's still on the thing. But there was a bunch of questions about making adjustments, doing things that are involved with like yoke adjustments for the most part. Like reseating a yoke. I mean, there's so many different questions. How long do I think these CRTs could be lasting?
Forever.
But yeah, lots of questions about just small technical things, different ways. But then I kind of ran out of time, of course, after that. And at that point, I was just happy that it was about to be kind of completed. But it was. I'm gonna have to cut the air on in here because it's like 100 degrees here today. It's starting to boil.
It's getting hot.
So if you hear a buzzing, it's probably the air conditioning. But yeah, it would, again, excellent. If you want to see it, you can see the full presentation on Dubes' channel. And I was blown away by the reaction to it. It's one of those things that you never know, right? You're going to, I mean, this time I was going to a completely new environment. And I had no idea if anybody was going to show up besides my friends. That I was like, you have to show up. And it was also fun to sit there and like, I felt like I was getting a chance to be like the lead speaker in front of all my friends that are also like all the retro guys, and they actually just had to sit there and listen to me talk for an hour. And they really didn't have to, like, I was like, okay, there's my chance for everybody to just have to listen to me for an hour.
I would love, I mean, I hope next year when if things go well, I'll be able to make it over Retro World Expo. And I'd love to be able to do that panel with you and just sort of keep, while you're working, do a bit of, work the crowd. We could do a double thing together doing that.
It would be hilarious.
I would love that next year to sort of, keep it, while you, and also help you as well. Because my next question to you, Steve, anytime we do something, we want to do a little debrief, get some lessons learned. And we've talked about what was good. What did you learn from this? And what would you do different next time in the next talk you'll do?
Okay, so I definitely learned a ton. First off, I brought way too much stuff. Like, even I could have still gotten across with the carrot top joke routine, and it would have been easier if I would have brought half the crap, like half the tools, as opposed to like, I mean, I had like 30 tools in front of me, so that was just goofy.
Did you bring 30 tools just for the joke, or did you think you're actually going to use them?
Just because I thought I was going to be able to show people. I was like thinking, I over-prepare for presentations where basically I'm ready for, I have like 3 hours of material for 50 minutes, right?
Yeah, sure.
And so that's what I did. And so that was something I would definitely cut down on. That's a big thing.
About
as far
maybe
as like
you've learned something.
The presentation would go, right? So
Yep.
here's what I want to do for next time. Well, I really want to be invited back for next time. So I want to keep most of that on the down low, but I definitely will have a different presentation prepared because I try to do that every single time, is have something different for the crowd that's going to have the same people in it more than likely. And I don't want them to sit through the same thing. So my goal, I think, from this point forward, to make it more of a workshop and more of a extremely unique experience, and something that makes it hugely worthwhile to anybody who shows up in person to the event, is to set up with my style of setup, decrease the number of useless things that I didn't get to show off in the presentation, but to open up the 2 CRTs that I had, which one was a professional, one was a home CRT, and just talk for 15-20 minutes about my spiel on whatever I want to reiterate to the crowd about CRTs, my entertaining thing that I'm saying myself, and then spend the last half an hour opening it up and having the crowd actually talk about things they want to see done on a CRT. And then instead of just talking about these things, every presentation will be different that way, and then people can come in and seriously see something they never get to see somebody do, and we will do it there. And even if we don't do it to perfection, it at least gives that person the idea of what they need to be working on to correct whatever they're issue is.
Sure.
Right?
I love that idea. It's a unique experience, adapting to the audience. You learn a little bit every time. I had this idea. I don't know if it's practical or not. So tell me whether you think this would work. Did you have some sort of, was there a projector or big screen or something like that?
So there's a projector set up to the side for slides, whatever you want to put on it. I didn't use it for mine. It's available, right?
Would there be, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. What if there was some way that we had a live camera set up that, let's say, and you were doing your thing, and then I was there like poking it in the monitor so people could see. I don't know how we would rig that.
So Koala, actually, and I didn't know he was doing this till I basically got there. He has a streaming backpack, so it's literally a full go backpack with a it looks like something from Ghostbusters with a camera right here, and he was streaming the whole time, and like he came up. You know, there were times where I told people to come up when I was discharging an anode cap, and I told him to come up and get closer, so he got real close. Dubes, when he was filming, got up real close during that part of the presentation. So yes, it would be an instance where you're right. You come in, whoever's filming. That's another thing. Like if Dubes wouldn't have like volunteered to film it, nobody would be. I don't have enough like resources to
absolutely
film it, and then so you know it's like I was just going to do it. I'm too concentrated on the show, right? I'm too focused.
Oh, and you shouldn't. Like for example, when I'm working with my colleagues, they're giving leadership keynotes and talks and stuff like that. Like I just volunteer my time. I'll go and film you because we don't want to interrupt the comedian or the performer or the trainer, whoever it is, right? You need to focus. You already had enough stuff going on, even without that, let alone setting up a camera, making sure your mic, all that sort of stuff. So you absolutely need another person to handle that filming so you can focus on giving the best performance possible.
Yeah, correct. It's because there's so much stuff that goes into things you don't really. It's like, again, like I was at the booth and they were trying to mess around with the huge TV, and I was like, I'm not even fooling with that, guys. You do what you want. I snuck out like 20 minutes before my presentation, and they're like, "Where's Steve?" Oh yeah, okay. So presentation went fantastic, like better than I could have predicted, to be honest with you, right? Everybody had a great time. I got a lot of awesome feedback. There were a lot of my colleagues, again, that said they really enjoyed the panel, and that, like, to me, that's pretty high praise. And the most important thing is it's on film, and just like a freaking Tom Brady, I've got that game tape out there. So if you know anybody who wants to have this show, this type of a presentation at their convention, this is proof that this is something people want to see. They're going to show up for, and like, look at that. That's like 100 people. There's people specifically that went to this show to go to this thing, or there are people that will specifically say this was one of the highlights of their weekend at this convention. So
absolutely,
I feel good about it, and I feel like I'll get, you don't know for sure, but I feel like I'll get invited back. I got kind of an insurance policy for that, so I took a BVM from the guy who runs the show.
Oh, right. I was going to
fix
got
to
his
work
kids
on.
or something?
Yeah.
Oh, BVM. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So
sure. I mean, I have to, of course, you always want to be humble. You don't want to assume anything, but it seems like, yes,
hopefully
they would want to invite you back there. And it'd be amazing to be able to go to other expos, because if you can sell a couple of monitors at each show, this is a good thing. This means people get monitors. There's a place where they can come and get trusted stuff without shipping. It means that you can make a bit of money back, so your weekend is at least worthwhile, right? It takes your whole weekend. You got to get that van, you got to get that petrol, all that sort of stuff. So if we can add, it was so good to have everyone together, do a great presentation, add value, add something interesting, like not just I don't know, not just Bob talking about whatever crap Bob talks about, right? Like actual something real. I'm sorry. Actually something real. So yeah, this would be awesome for other conventions. And how do you think the convention thing goes? Would you now maybe just reach out and go, hey guys, if you're interested in, I don't know, whatever the next expo, if you're interested, here's the tape, here's some footage. If you want to talk about me attending, love to talk to you a bit more. Is that
I think that's probably a good way to do it. I mean, there's no reason I couldn't just take my Twitter, DM probably these shows directly through the social media and link to this presentation. And I'm actually very happy that it's not on my channel, right? I like getting these presentations out there on other channels, especially it's even cooler that it's somebody else who's in the retro community and not just like the show. But it's awesome to have, again, all this is hopefully what the plan is. But of course, if it doesn't happen, it's not like a big deal. But I'm sure that when Lance, the promoter or the owner of the owner of this convention, reached out to me and asked me if I was interested, I sent him the presentations that I had done in the past one was from the museum and one was the workshop that I had done from another convention a few years ago. And I said, I really am available to do either things like this. I say that I would tailor stuff to do, and I feel like the workshop stuff is much more enjoyable and fun than any kind of just presentation only.
Sure. And that's nice that you've got options. Hey, I respect you've got a show, you've got a vibe. Here's what I can do. Do you think any of these things would fit what you're going for? And, take a little feedback. Here's what, I could do that. Sure. That's nice, right? To not just, it's nice to, I think it's okay to talk to these conferences. You're a humble guy, just to say, could this be helpful to you? That it's not arrogant to reach out and offer support and offer help. Just to check if they would like that or not.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it would be good. Yeah, so you got, this is, Wizzo is actually like when asking about working this, like when you're in when you're in a business like this, you're constantly looking for new avenues to expand your business.
Yeah, wait, who's Wizzo talking about? Wait, you or Edward or who?
Wait.
I
thought maybe I read that wrong. Maybe Edward.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Wizzo,
okay.
Please. Which person?
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. They might be having their own conversation here. So
just double check it.
Yeah, maybe it's Andre and Wizzo.
Or at least the business of going to conferences and being so,
that's what I mean. Like there's this whole thing we're doing here, but how do you? This is actually a super successful business or part of the business where you don't really know, again, a new convention, you don't know what it's going to be like. I've been to conventions that have had 4 people show up, and that's way worse, just 4 people, but I still give the same energy trying to make them happy to be there, but it's much worse going to a full room of 4 people.
And there's a bit of up and down with that, like, how to say, I'm trying to compare the experiences there that maybe you're a comedian and you're going to some comedy club and, there's the old stereotype of 5 people in the audience. And it's important also to understand, like, why is there 5 people in the audience? Is it poorly run? Is it just a new conference? Was there just a misstep made with the marketing or the presenting? And now I know you, Steve, of course you would still give that high energy. Is this maybe a good conference? We made a misstep, but the next year we can correct. You know what I mean? Like a small doesn't have to be super negative, but we sort of need to understand the context of that to make those adjustments for next time. Because, hey, I mean, Chris, Lance, anyone who runs an event, you have my sympathies for the financial output that you have to risk to put on such an event. And you've got to pay for so many things, people to come, all this sort of stuff. And, and then hope like hell that you sell those tickets and people want to come. So it's absolutely always a risk with anyone. And my sympathy goes out, let's say, to event organizers like those guys.
And here's the thing I've learned over being years in sales. I'm not, and I do this with humble love and appreciation. If I want to come back, I make it hard for people not to want to have me back. I couldn't find Lance, but he introduced me to his wife and his sons, and like I saw them on my way out of town. I had to drive back. I made sure to go over there and say hello to her, who I was again, and thank you, and everything seemed to go wonderful. Please let Lance know I'll reach out to him. Things calm down a couple days from now, but I would absolutely love to come back, and I know it sounds silly, but that's the silly little things that I think make a little difference. And I know it just sounds a little bit, but again, I'm trying to go out here and I try to make connections with everybody. Everybody that comes in new, there's a lot of new faces each year that come in, especially in the retro scene that haven't been to the Retro World Expo before. There's half people that are new. I try to make them feel as comfortable with us, because I realize if we have a giant crowd in our booth that's diverse, that has, like, this guy does ROM hacks, this guy, we have a huge diverse group of people in this booth, and somebody comes over there and they will spend like all day talking to people they love to, see their work, and it's just, everybody puts off a positive energy and vibe. It makes the whole thing better. Like, everything grows. It's like this community energy that is positive, where you constantly hear about things negative, right? The internet's negative. This is honestly, I saw people coming together at this booth that were, you would think they would be, if you watched stuff on TV, these look like the people that would be fighting each other in the streets over stupid nonsense. They're coming together and having the most smiles on their faces, having genuine conversations over things that involve technology, video games, retro stuff, connecting on a human level, nothing but positive energy. Nobody's like negative in any way. So when people add to that, it literally is infectious. So just like if you go and do a good stand-up set or a good presentation and you feel the energy from the crowd, you can tell it was something good. As opposed to if you feel that, daggers kind of things aren't really going well, and it just goes through the period of time or whatever. So,
yeah, and if you're a good person, like a reasonable person, that goes a long way. As a promoter, if the comedian is a dick, fine, but you better be real good, bro. Like, you better be real good for me to put up with your crap. You're not that great, but you're actually a reasonable individual, take a reasonable amount of money, you're nice and understanding of some things, goes a long way. And I'll be like, hey man, you want to come back next time? I got this different opportunity. I enjoyed working with you. I can give you a little money. Are you okay with that? Because when someone, a performer or any sort of talent has this growing ego, you're essentially fighting against it. And the example that I give is if you go all the way to the end of the line and like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, clearly a genius, clearly one of the most intelligent people in the world, but what a dick. No one wants to deal with him. It's only the willpower, the force of his genius that is pulling that across. So if you're not a genius, the way that you can still get forward in life and relationships is just to bring the ego down a little bit, and your less genius, whatever, will go much, much further. And you Steve, have always understood that right back from your sales days. So yeah, play the game. And no doubt the guys, Lance and Chris, they love that you're all there creating this great vibe, creating this awesome atmosphere. That's exactly what an event promoter would want.
Yeah, so let's just hope it keeps going well like that. Like I said, it's different to think about. It was an interesting one because even though I had the largest crowd, I felt no anxiety, like, surprisingly, at all while giving the presentation. I mean, it was just like I was cool, locked in. And I don't know, I had been prepping a lot in a different way, Lewis. I had been watching people that were professionals that had won like contests for 4-minute speeches where they could have been given a speech about water, but they were compelling the audience in a way you just didn't understand, and like really made you feel like, you know, the power of speaking and audience and connection. And so then I was like, wow, this is actually, it's actually once you get in kind of that zone, it's a lot like you're in the zone and it's happening, and it just happens easier than you even thought. Like, and it's good to prepare, but a lot of preparation just comes out of you. Like there was a lot of things that would just boom out of my head that were kind of silly. But Robert, thank you for the crowns.
Thank you, Robert.
The 100 crowns.
Swedish
thank you for
crowns.
all the exciting content. I appreciate that, Robert.
What's that, about $10? Right on, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, there's a good. Let's here's another topic to talk about. I'd like your perspective, Steve. They were talking about the price of games at conventions, and look, certainly there's a stereotype that now the prices are getting higher at conventions. But there's this flip side, like you were talking about, that for a good quality product in person, and this person's had to drive, pay the fee to be there, the petrol, all of that. Like, how did you feel prices were at the conference based on what you know about how the risk and the cost it is to actually attend one of these things?
So, unfortunately, I'm going to be 100% honest. I had like zero time to even go and look at a single booth. The only experience I had was everybody else that was coming in. There was a half a dozen of them, you know, walking around the booths buying stuff. And then I would just ask them what they get, what they see, how are the prices looking. And there was, of course, nobody there was saying there's great prices. And I don't think Retro World, the vendors there, have ever been accused of having great prices. Like, there was a, you know, it's always like it's really bad, really. But I'm sure there were some items that were priced fairly. Since they were open Friday night, most of those items may have sold that Friday night, right? And then you're left with a bunch of convention fodder. That's a lot. I mean, there was some really high-priced, crazy items that were collector's items that I didn't even know existed. Who the heck knows what the price is if it's right on them? I think you're going to find that at every convention. The other end of it is you will, like the convention I go to in Nashville, outside of Nashville, really. It's not fair to say it's in Nashville anymore. It's more like a cow town outside of Nashville. There's a guy, that's the only convention he does every year. And he's local. He has absolutely tons of great stuff, and his pricing is always phenomenal. His pricing is like literally, it's never like over 65% of eBay pricing. And he always sells a ton of stuff. He does the one show, he doesn't travel anywhere else. He has a huge booth there. And every time somebody goes from out of town, they always talk about how great his booth is. So you're going to have the occasional thing like that. But I'm telling you, those guys are the old timers. They're getting older and older. They're going to be gone. There's going to be more of these people who are unfortunately tied in more. They've had to invest more to buy the stuff. So they're not going to be able to pass on the savings unless they're really desperate to move inventory. And the only way to do that is to like wait till Sunday and wait till towards the end of Sunday and hope you can either make a deal by paying cash and the person doesn't want to take it home with them, or you can offer a bundle deal and buy multiple items and offer less. There's still absolutely nothing wrong with people who haggle and want to haggle. They always do at the shows, and it's your benefit as a buyer to haggle with this kind of a situation, even though it's uncomfortable, because all these vendors are used to haggling, every one of them. So
sure, that's the
they're
game.
not going to be intimidated or offended by you saying a price that's $10 less. For all you know, they might say yes. That's just the only thing you should prepare for. So that's kind of the best advice, I think, for a little bit right there on the pricing of things.
That makes sense. I mean, you have to. There is a premium because there's no risk in this transaction. Even eBay, I gotta wait. I gotta get a post. Maybe it's gonna get squashed in the mail. I can see the item right there, and I will take it with me right now. 0 seconds of delay between paying and getting, and that's a premium. Now, if that's not your bag, no problems. Go to eBay. That's not for me, right? So I'll take chances. I'm buying all sorts of dodgy things, getting viruses on my computer, buying from weird guys in Albania and Portugal, wherever it might be, right? Because the game for me. But so to me, it's the same reason why someone's buying a PVM from you. It's they see what it is, they know what it is, they're gonna get it right now. There's no shipping, nothing else, and they're getting a great product. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So let me show you some things that I was actually able to get at the show. I didn't actually go buy anything from the booths. Of course, I sold all those CRTs. I had 4 CRTs that I took that were serviced. One of the guys who had the 2 of them serviced, it was 2 people, each had 2 to be serviced. Brought them to them, and one of the gentlemen had 4 extra PVMs, and so I made a deal to purchase those. So I got a load of those coming back. Excuse me. So I got that. Then on Sunday, had a couple of other BVM coming through. I'll show you those and talk a little bit about what we got. We'll go through some other cool pictures.
Yeah, let's go through.
Okay, let's see.
So some people drop them off, and did you make any plans for how those sets are actually going to get back to those people in the end?
These people dropped these sets off last year.
Oh, right on.
So last year's Retro World, I got them. This year, I was taking them back to them after servicing both of them. So, oh yeah, James. James and I did a selfie on his Game Boy camera. It was pretty awesome. That was really good. He had a sweet Game Boy camera. That was a lot of fun. All right, let's go through here so I can show some behind the scenes stuff in the booth again. Let's just drop that out. Let's go expand it a little bit more, and we'll roll through some photographs here. Change scenes. There's just a snapshot at the booth. This is probably after. Yeah, this would be after the convention, or the presentation. Sorry.
Oh, after the presentation. Sure.
After the presentations. Let's close that photo. Again.
I like how you're all wearing the same colors, black t-shirt.
Yeah, it's because that's what fat guys look better in black shirts. That's right. That's why. So let me pull up. Here.
Yeah, but Steve, that DDP yogurt showing on you. Here's
the group. So this is Ariel. Got to hang out, meet Audie, the man Bob, and then me. This was at the bar that night after the show. This is when stuff started getting wild. Let's see if there's any other cool. So this was a cool photo of everybody at the booth, just about. But you could tell there's our huge booth, right? And with a crowd like this big, there's a couple other guys that I don't think made it in the picture, but literally so much fun and stuff, hanging out with everybody there. And so that was exciting. Let's see. So let's look at the CRTs I brought home. I know I've got some pictures here. This one, the thumbnail for this show today.
Oh, yes.
This was one of them. It's a Sony PVM20 M2 MDU that was taken from a hospital. Here it is. It's back in my shop.
It's a medical one, right? I was about to say,
one. The guy who found these worked at the hospital, opened a closet door in like a maintenance closet, and saw 2 of these stacked on top of each other. And I think he talked to his boss. They said, get rid of them. So he said, can I take them? They said, absolutely. And so he took them home. He reached out to Bob, and Bob actually bought both of them, sent one back with me to restore, and it's going to be available for sale. This is the one. But this is
it's got the whole
It's got
range.
everything you want. It works perfectly. Like, it was thrown in a closet, used for a little bit, thrown in a closet, then just left there. It was super clean inside. This is a 99 model.
Okay.
Super
Good year.
nice. So
Good
it's
year.
going to be, I'm going to restore this one and then offer it up. So that was one that we got there. Or he got 2 of them, sent one back with me. Here is the BVM that I picked up that belongs to the show promoter, but he I think he
Awesome.
is perfectly fine with me restoring it and then selling that too. So this just means these things are going to be high end and they are going to be expensive, but they're not going to be like as expensive as like an eBay price or something. They're going to be restored.
What
and
model is that? I
high.
was gonna say that looks
This-
super similar to my
yes.
20-inch sitting right here.
It's right
That's
here,
a-
20 F1U. Is that the one you have?
F1U. I think I've got the 20 E1E. I think mine's an E1E.
Ooh,
So
that's
very
even
very
better.
similar.
That's even better.
Is it? Okay. All right.
Yours
I
is.
think mine's got 1,000 TV lines. Maybe that one's
Yeah.
only got like 800 or something.
Yes. So this one's from 99. Now my choice is I might buy this outright from Lance and stick the tube from this in a scrap D series that I have that does not have a good tube in it. So there's a lot of possibilities with this one. It could either be turned into a D series, the tube, and then parted out, or be restored and then sold. I'm just not entirely certain. Now, those were the ones that are kind of like what I call consignment. This is one that I picked up from the load that I bought, a lovely 2030. So now I have like 5 of these in my collection. So I'm just like a hermit. I'm going to build a pyramid of them and just hide inside of it.
Yeah.
So this one was awesome.
Okay.
Like, it's got the actual OEM speaker set up on the side where they fold in.
dope.
Super minty.
Yeah.
That's really hard to find ones that are in that good a shape.
Oh yeah.
So this is like the
How does-
nicest 2030 I have. Here's how,
How does the tube look? Or
here,
how
I
does it?
mean,
Oh yeah.
I haven't even used it, but this is the guy who sold it to me. Another bourbon head, you can tell. Look, bourbon back there. So
Those speakers sticking out the side
Oh,
look
yeah.
dope.
there it is. It looks awesome. I mean, that's usually these will look super hooked because they've not been recapped. You almost guaranteed to have to recap them. This one still looks good before the recapping. So I got that one, and then I got one more, which this is a funny story, Lewis. This is the one.
Oh yeah.
So this is just a 1350, just a standard RGB 13-inch. And I'm going to go back and we're going to tell this little funny story about this one. And get all these out of here. So those are most of the ones I picked up. I got, whoops,
Oh.
I won too many buttons. There we go.
There we go.
One, I got 2 more.
Yeah.
From the pickup there right here. I'll show you those in a second. But you got to hear, you got to hear about this other one, this 1350. So
PVM here. Yep.
yeah. So God bless, man. Saturday went so well, right? I had that whole I had like emptied the truck. I had emptied all 10 of the CRTs that I brought were gone, and I had a whole new load of CRTs in there, right? And presentation went well. Everybody was super happy, and everybody was complaining about the bar prices from the Marriott bar the night before, but they were all like freaked out because I was out. Like I had 1 beer and dinner in the Marriott, and I'll show you a picture of that. Funny enough, this is all of us at dinner in the Marriott.
Tremendous.
So dinner, Guinness, and then I'm like, look, guys. I'm cashing out because that was already like $50 for a burger and 2 Guinnesses. I was like, I'm cashing out. I brought 4 bottles of high-end bourbon. I'm going to my room. I'm going to grab one. I'm grabbing the ice chest. I'm going to stick it on the table right outside the bar. Anybody who wants some, come get some. That's what I did the first night. So I had it was the night before everything. So I'm only having like 1 more and then I'm going to bed. But the next night I was like, who's ready to go hit up Steve's bar? So we were all out in the front. We had 2 of the ice trays from the hotel rooms, like a dozen glasses we'd all compiled from our hotel rooms. And I mean, we sat there and drank through 2 of the bottles of bourbon were gone like that. Like everybody drinking them. And so I was like, man, we are having a party out here. So I was up till like 1 or so, and everybody was out there having a great time, and I was like, man, I gotta get to bed. I'm supposed to like work on CRTs back in the booth. I got in bed at like 1 a.m. and I woke up and I felt like utter hell the next morning, of course. I was like, man, just, oh gosh. I tried to make myself throw up, but it didn't work. And then I was like, then I start getting texts from Bob because it was like, yo, that guy with those medical PVMs is going to be here in 15 minutes. And I'm like, Bob, I'm like dying. And I'm like, okay, I'll see you. And, and then I had some other incredible stuff that day lined up. Like there was this, I've got this for the videos, but there was a video wall there at the show.
Oh yeah.
Like here, let me, so here's
cool.
the video wall. Let me change the view on our, well, not our Discord call. I keep hitting the wrong button. Let me change the view on our thing. Here we go.
Are we getting to the story of the PVM?
The PVM.
You were going to tell us about the 13-inch PVM.
Oh yeah, this is getting to that story, right?
Oh, we're getting to it. Okay, good.
Because it's all kinds of rouse up. So this is just walking you through. I was so hungover, and I've been talking to this guy who set this wall up. His name's Steve, also, and I was like, he's like, you want to come over doing a tour of it? I'll tell you everything about it. And I was like, of course I do, right?
Yeah,
of course. But I was so hungover this morning, and then he was like out looking for me. I said we'd do it early before the show opened, so I sucked it up. Finally got through this, but he also had. Not only did he have this awesome video wall, which I'm going to show you guys more about this in a full video, because I went through everything with him for like 5 or so minutes, and then he showed me like his diagram, handwritten diagram, how awesome that is, and how he hooked everything up and behind the curtain. So I don't want to spoil too much of that, but what I can show is too, he had this car that is a 1990 Buick 2-seater, and it has a touchscreen CRT in it. It's like one of 3 years. So I did like a 10-minute video with him about this. So this was all stuff I had lined up. I was super feeling rough. And then I went inside, started working on stuff, and I was like, man, I'm going to just start packing up my stuff. It was like 1:30. It's like, I got to get out of here. So I need to start rolling down gear that I had, like tools and stuff I was taking back with me. And I had the 2 CRTs that I used in my presentation weren't for sale. They were just beater CRTs, I called them. And I'm wheeling back the cart with the beater CRTs to the van. And then some guy in the parking garage is like from the expo, just in the parking garage. But hey, did you buy that CRT? Good job. And I was like, well, no, not actually. I'm like the guy who's here to service them. And I gave a panel about it and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, really? Because I've been looking to buy a CRT. And I was like, really? Well, what are you looking for? He said, oh, a 13-inch PVM. So I was laughing. I was like, okay, well, it's your lucky day. You want to come down here and check out one in my van? So,
hey, kids.
Come down here, man. I got a PVM in the van. I promise I'm not a creep. Come on. It's like, so this guy, his name was Retro Ed. And I was talking to him forever. I was like, I had this 1350, and I just explained to him everything it did. I showed him the picture I showed you. I never even turned the thing on. It was dropped off in my car. And I was like, if you want this thing, man, I'll sell it to you right now for $350. And he's like, all right, cool. And so he just pulled it out and bought the thing right there from me for $350. And then I was like, I'll give you $10 off. He's like, I've got a YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, I can tell you how to work on these things. And he looks up in his phone. He's like, oh, I'm already subscribed to you. And I was like, well, I'll give you $10 off. So I gave him for $340 since he was already subscribed. So I sold Retro Ed a PVM in the that I never turned on in the parking lot.
In the parking lot,
because that
shady
honestly,
drug
like
deal.
the 1350, it's not. It's like it only does RGB. It's lower line TV count. And I was like, man, I don't even really, I could do so much more things. It would be good to just, if somebody wants it, it's like he's in the area. He said, I said, if you want to schedule it worked on, I come back hopefully next year, blah, blah, blah. But he's very happy. And so it all, like, then I finally got over my hangover. I was like, yeah, it's worth it to stay another day. And Bob was just laughing at me. He's like, yeah, he looked like death for a while. So that was the long story about that monitor.
Right. Doing deals, flipping CRT, selling them in the car park. There's some cops watching undercover, and they're like, is it drugs? No, it's just another dude. Just another old fat guy with CRTs. All right, very.
Right. Ugh.
It's
Nope.
so good to sell them in person, right? That's to me, it's almost like why do we love these CRTs? Because they're big and they're tactile and it's not just it's not virtual, it's real and getting together and I don't know, sell them in a car park. That's a good story, man.
So the other two that I picked up are
All right, hold on.
portables.
Oh yeah, here I'll tell you what. You unveil that. I'm gonna go to the toilet and
Go
then
for it.
I want to see what's going on in there.
So these are the first off, they're the cool travel cases. Yeah, Jose. That one fell off the truck. So these are travel like packs that have this hood that you're supposed to like attach like this if you want to get rid of all your glare and like you're outside somewhere and you want to use it. You're like, yeah. And then you can get rid of all your glare as you're using this in the field. It's a field monitor. But what makes this version so desirable is it's the L series. So it does have the knobs and buttons, but it has a full OSD or service menu on this one. So while Lewis is gone, we'll switch off that. Should be just me, yeah. So this one has the full service menu on it, buttons, everything, and then if we look around behind here, these cases are super nice and cool too, like really good condition. It's got S-video and composite, but it's got the card slots over here where we can add the RGB cards. There's so many different variations of that. You can add that in this slot right here. And then there's the power bay. So I got a set of these, a 2-set of these, and I really like these because I got rid of my other 8-inch ones. So I was glad to have a new one where it's a little bit newer. This is also a high-res tube, so it's got 450 TV lines compared to the other 250 TV line one I used to have that was a 9L like 2. This is the L3. So that's a bit about that one. Yeah.
So it comes that dope case, and that's the original case that would have come in. Maybe you would have had a battery pack or something back in the day to use it in the field.
It's from somebody called Talamas. Talamas. Okay. I don't know. Talamas. That's what's written on both handles. And
so that's an L3, and you said the L3 has the higher line count.
Yeah, it's got the high resolution tube in it, so it's HR ready model.
Oh, does that make it a BVM then?
No, it's
really, huh?
This one doesn't do like digital. It only does analog still.
Right.
So
and it's actually like
that.
it's PVM L3.
Yes. Hey, Robcat, thank you for the $10 super
what a
chat. I appreciate it.
man,
Steve,
right on.
I saw Dubenhauer's video of your masterclass. Congratulations on the turnout and for handling like a pro with humility and humor. It was great. Thank you very much. One of the other things I did not mention was the heat in the room. Like they did not turn the air conditioner on yet in that room, and with 100 nerds and me up front with the CRT, I was literally dripping sweat. Like thankfully I had paper towels up there. I was literally doing this like the whole time, and I found my other shirt that because I hadn't washed the shirt, I thought I might wear it for the show because it's closer to the one you can order. But I looked at it and there's this whole, it's black, except it's all gray, like here from the sweat, like dried sweat. So I gotta watch it.
Oh my God.
But it was super hot in that room. And thankfully somebody told him to turn the air on and it cooled down by the end of it. But that was another thing, was you can't tell what the temperature's going to be.
Yeah, sure. Wow. So what an adventure. So there was Sunday, and then you drove home Sunday evening with a load full of new CRT.
Yes. So that was like the climax to all that. Was that Sunday we drove home, or I drove home and got home at 11:30, and then I had to go turn the minivan in at night.
Oh, yeah, of course, because you had to drive to the...
Yeah.
All right, you have to take it home, take the CRTs out, then drive to the rental place. That was like 45 minutes or an hour away, wasn't it?
No, it's not. It's about 20 minutes. So yeah,
it's well, okay,
total
still.
takes about 40 minutes to get there and back. So I had to do all that after I got home, got to bed at midnight. Let me show you a teaser. This is unbelievable of this car. Well, first off,
this is the bloke with the CRT in the car.
oh my goodness, yes, you guys have to see this CRT car before we end the show today. It is just unbelievable. So this is Steve and his Buick. I will have a full video on this, but we were just looking at the awesome features of this car, and of course, I just took this fun little shot of the headlights popping up.
Looks like it's in good condition too.
Oh, it had like 30,000 miles on it.
Oh, that's
And
nuts.
it's in primo shape. Let me find the. Okay, here's the video of that's me hungover, as you can tell. Look at that rough guy. Holy smokes! Here's
wow.
Here's the Buick Riata. It's a Buick Riata, guys. Look at that. That is a monochrome monochrome CRT right there. Look at that thing. It does.
Is that for real? Is that the regular
yes,
car?
Yes.
Shit.
And the funny thing was, Lewis, it's not even. It wasn't even an option. Like this was standard. This was standard in that model for the years it came out. The guy knew so much about this car. I'd love to have him come on and talk about it on a live show because he spits nothing but knowledge this whole video. So thankfully he's talking the whole time and showing off all the features. But every feature worked on it. And do you see the little dots on there? That's the touch sensor. That's an overlay on top of the CRT, so we can tell where your fingers touching.
Oh, there's a touch screen on it.
It's a touch
oh
screen.
My god!
So that's what he does. Is he demonstrates like the touch screen here. It is. I mean, and it worked perfectly. And then, dude, like no malfunction. See, it's running a diagnostic. Like he just turned it on and it's running. It's running its startup diagnostics. And I mean, this thing, dude, like it was. I got to show you some cool stuff because he showed me the animations that it does to represent things. Oh, this is awesome. So let's look at this. Now you see that fan is spinning. When you increase the speed of the fan, the animation for it changes and goes faster.
What year is this?
Like 1989. I was like, where have we gone as a society? This was so badass. No car. I saw this and I was like, I never want to see another car in my life. So, I mean, this thing was so loaded. He said that Buick got so many complaints because they were old people cars normally. And this was their sport version, and it's an old people could never figure out. Look at that. There's wait, did you see what he just had? It has a tape player, and you press eject on the touch screen. Eject on the touch screen, and the pop out for the tape player on there. Oh my god. Definitely like one of the coolest things you'd ever see. Oh, and this, like when he's driving.
My god.
It's got this, it tells you the voltage. Look at that. He starts revving the engine and RPMs come up. I mean, I was just like, this is a never ending. Like, we did this for like 8 minutes where he just showed me everything of this car.
Wow.
And what
dude,
else
that video is going to get a lot of. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Look, like if it senses a fluid's low, it'll like give you a warning and it'll tell you where to find like the brake fluid on the car and like to add it.
Oh my god. Dude, after watching this video, my fluid is low.
Yeah, I bet. Phil, see, it says like it'll give you a warning. It says fill washer fluid. You know, it was simulating some, and then you can, you know, it's a monochrome CRT. So we're talking about how it was fit and mounted in there. This was, I mean, this is going to be a great, like, I'm going to probably do this. I don't know. I'm either going to do this as a part of the video and then a video on its own, the more detailed version. I'm not sure. Because I think that's super, like, there's not really much information on this thing.
Amazing.
So that's what got me out of my funk on Sunday. And I was talking to Steve Moore, and he knew so much about this car, and then he's like, there's one that came out in 1990 that has a color Trinitron from Sony in it with a touch screen. Wow. He says, I've never seen it I'm on the hunt for this car. My friend is like flying to Utah next week to look at one. And it's like he said he found his by going to a car show, finding the guys in the Buick section and asking them if any of them knew about the Riata. And he like narrowed it down to a couple guys who had some. And then he was like, man, I really want one of these. And they're like, well, we know a guy who's looking to get rid of his. And he bought it. 30,000 miles on it. Everything works on it. And he just drives it, up to the convention because he lives about 30 minutes away. And he sets up that video wall. It's the same dude. And so that was just super awesome to see. Like I've never seen that before.
It's amazing. It would be fascinating to know, as was asked in the chat, Zen was asking in the chat. First of all, what was the sticker price back in '89, and what is its theoretical value on the secondhand market today? Both would be very interesting to know.
See, this
it's one of those
perfect.
things.
We're gonna do the video, and then I'm gonna get Steve to come on a live show, and we can ask him these questions that I don't know, because I know he knows all. I don't know, Brandon. I can't remember. He knows the exact model. I couldn't remember the model because I had bourbon brain. Sorry. So
this car would have to be. I don't know a lot about secondhand cars, but I know about secondhand stuff. And there are some things that are so rare that it's hard to put a price on it because they never sell. Yes. So I wonder how. I mean, he knows about cars.
I know he
so
didn't
I guess
pay
he's
a
gonna make
huge.
more
Like I asked him how much he paid for it, and it was like I would have bought it.
Yeah.
So that means it's cheap because I'm a cheapskate. So it's I've actually, it was one of the coolest things I got to see at the show. And again, it's like, man, this show has become something that is just so awesome. Like you see that the video wall, getting the behind the scenes access to stuff like this, and it just keeps growing every year. And it's always the reason you never know what you're going to see at a show, right? You never. So it's one of the great things about continuing to go to them and getting to go to them is something like this happens. So
absolutely, those experiences. Good work, man. What an adventure for you.
Yes.
Woo. So you got to settle back down in just regular life, boring old family and being at home. No exciting adventures on CRT land. What's up next? What's next on Steve's schedule over the next week or so?
I've already been back in here. I've got one, like 3/4. I'm waiting on parts now to get back in, but I've got a bunch. I mean, I've got a dozen CRTs to work on, and so those are all not mine. So we've got I've got to just start getting back to working through the queue. I'll be working on CRTs pretty much. The good news is too, everybody, that kids are back at school, so I'd expect more live shows because now I don't have to worry about watching kids while I'm out here.
Yeah, rock and roll.
So we're going to have, I don't know when the next, I mean, I might come back on tomorrow, Roddy, and actually work on something if I have an opportunity to. Zez and I will continue to do things at least whenever we can too. So we love.
Absolutely.
We love
I'm enjoying
talking.
this once a week. It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chat,
people
no,
are really
I
enjoying. They're like, wow, how do you guys have so much great chemistry? And we're like,
cocaine.
man, are you kidding?
No, I'm kidding. I'm too poor for cocaine.
Right?
No.
I know.
I got flour. That's it.
That's right.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love coming on here every week, chatting with you. I want to hear these stories behind the scenes of what's happening in Retro World. I'm very jealous that we're not there, enjoying those things and so many good vibes and just good people, good creators, like all coming together. I like that. I don't know, and there's like different stages. Like there's some of those people in that photo have very big subscriber counts, but everyone's cool. Everyone wants to connect and talk, and I love that feeling.
And I really can't, like, I know Bob, I watched Bob's, of course, because Bob did an article for me on the presentation stuff, which was awesome. And it's true that, again, he was hyping it. I feel like I'm hyping it, but this is after this convention's already done. This is like such a great opportunity. And then so many of you guys who are in the chat, if you make it over here, man, it's like you're actually right in there with all of us. There's plenty of people that were hanging out at our booth for hours, just, interacting, working on things with us. And So that like experience is there to be had, and I think that's a really good thing. So anyway, it's enough for the Retro World Expo. Yeah, we're gonna move on to the queue. I know that PO17 asked what I have in the queue. I have a couple of 20-inch consumer CRTs, one that or three 20-inch consumer CRTs, a JVC D series that's white shelled, and two Sonys, a white shell one that's not RGB moddable, and a black shell one that is RGB moddable. So those that are RGB moddable will get done. I made a video about the RGB Mux mod I did, again, on the Toshiba. This one is the one I think I talked to you more about with all the really detailed photos. This is going to be super detailed. I show you how to do all the surface mount work that's important. So that's coming. That's already been filmed. I just have to piece that video together. And I think that all the BVMs and PVMs you saw today need to get worked on. And there's another, like I've got the one I'm working on right now is actually an N series. And this is another
N series.
This is another little quick thing we'll talk about. So everybody knows I do a little file that we've gone through here. We're going to give you service notes, pictures, and then an invoice and a file. And then, you get it for your PVM or CRT that's sent into the shop. And the idea is to work with Ariel on a sticker that is foily, high-end, but like a quarter the size, has maybe this logo over the foil, and it says a QR code on it. And then you go to that QR code, and it pops up the service history that I've done on the monitor, and it stays with the monitor for pretty much forever. And so I'm like, that is an incredibly great idea to add value to the CRTs I've set and serviced. So I want to do that little sticker thing. But another thing I want to do is, like with this one, I'm going to expand beyond just the cap kit on this N series. I'm taking photos, and I'm going to make a file for people on the Discord and Patreon, so you can have the cap kit, but you can also have pictures of what the board looks like, what the board looks like with the caps gone, what it looks like afterwards, and some other pictures of it being serviced. I'm going to actually just package all that together so that instead of just finding a file that says a cap kit, you could have extra resources that might be helpful if you're like, what does this job look like? What do these pads look like? What do I really need to be looking at? So I'm like, that's another good idea. So I'm going to do that as I go on each, I don't really want to go
That's
backwards.
great, man. Yeah, I mean, can imagine, I don't know how it's feasible to make the stickers with the QR code, or even just like the RetroTech serial number. And then they can log on to RetroTech, and it's got the URL there or something, and you can plug in your RetroTech serial number and pull up the service history for your set that way. Either way, that's an awesome idea to have that service history attached to the unit, that no matter whoever opens it up in the future, there's always this record of what's happened.
So like that's what I talked to Kaitor, and he was telling me, he's like, you can order this sticker pack of URL codes where you get a little sticker, and all you do is when you're ready, you scan the sticker and then you input the URL code. So you could do that on an individual tiny sticker. And then
okay, cool.
So all I need to do is get a master sticker that's like a QC sticker from Artistic Pixels, and then have that other sticker to stick on top of that sticker. And then it's like a whole little, and then I'll put like, do not or void if opened or something like every other douchebag
void warranty.
company.
RetroTech warranty is voided. Or
like this product never came with a warranty, so don't worry about removing it. So
it's very professional, and these are all the things that show the work and professionality that goes into your handicraft. Nice, man.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm excited to see your relaunch. Next time you need to get some to drop the relaunch and have you a nice video put together.
Yeah, we'll do something.
You got some archives.
Maybe I got to make a little video up or something.
Yeah.
Knock something else up over the weekend or something to launch that. So yeah, I'm happy for that new artwork. It's nice just to have it there. Mason's done a really nice job on it as well. Just because that artwork is just the original crap I knocked up, right? So you always want to have a professional do that. So yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice thing. And appreciate everyone in the chat. Belmont's there moderating like a mofo. Love that guy. Yeah. It's very nice to see you all in the chat here today.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you very much for being with us today. Lewis, have a wonderful evening there in Europe. And
Thank you very
good
much,
dinner.
Steve.
I'm going to go finish up the
Will do.
rest of the afternoon, and we will see you guys next time.
See you